Before the clash of heroes, before the thunder of gods, there is a moment that belongs to no one but him. A moment when the world holds its breath, when sound thins and time seems to hesitate, just long enough for a single quiet presence to step into view. The Greeks called him Thanatos, not a tyrant, not a monster, not the skeletal reaper painted in later centuries. He was something far more unsettling, the god who arrived without anger, without cruelty, without hurry. A figure who never needed to raise his voice or wield fear as a weapon. His power was the simplest in the cosmos. When he touched a mortal, the struggle ended. No pain, no violence, just release. And yet, for all his gentleness, even the gods kept their distance. Because Thanatos didn't bargain, he didn't bend, he didn't change his mind. He was the one force that refused to yield, even to kings, heroes, sometimes even to Olympus itself. Most gods ruled domains filled with noise, storms, oceans, war, desire. But Thanatos ruled a single moment, the final one. And in that single moment, mortals found both fear and comfort. He was terrifying because he came for everyone. He was comforting because he came without cruelty. His stories are rare, but the ones that survive reveal a figure unlike any other in Greek mythology. A peaceful guide to the end of life, a shadow who follows the living from the moment they're born, and a quiet reminder that even the brightest flame must someday dim. This is the story of Thanatos, the god of death, the gentle twin of sleep, and the inescapable presence who walks behind every mortal path, whether invited or not. Thanatos was born in a place where even the gods hesitated to look. A realm before daylight, before law, before the familiar architecture of Olympus took shape. His mother was Nyx, the primordial goddess of night, a being so ancient and so powerful that even Zeus respected her boundaries. In the old stories, she needed no consort to create life. Her children simply emerged from her, shaped by the quiet forces that existed long before mortal imagination. Thanatos was one of those forces. Some traditions claim Erebus, the god of darkness, stood at Nyx's side when she brought him forth. But whether Thanatos rose from night alone or from the union of night and shadow, the outcome was the same. He was a child of silence, formed where light had never touched, where existence felt more like a whisper than a presence. His siblings reflected the many anxieties of human life. Hypnos, the soft veil of sleep that blurs the boundary between the living and the dead. Moros, the doom that waits for all. Eris, the discord that unravels peace. Nemesis, the inescapable justice. Geras, the slow weight of old age. And the Charis, the savage spirits of violent death. While some of Nyx's children clawed at mortals or twisted fate, Thanatos carried neither chaos nor malice. He was inevitability without cruelty. To the ancient Greeks, this mattered. They did not imagine death as a single, monstrous entity. They imagined types of death, some violent, some dishonorable, some merciful. Thanatos represented the final moment when pain finally releases its grip, when breath leaves easily and a soul slips away without resistance. Because of this, he was respected. Not worshipped, not adored, but accepted. His existence explained a truth every mortal knew, but few dared to speak. Death can arrive softly. It can come not as punishment, but as a natural closing of the story. And so Thanatos became the quiet foundation beneath every myth that followed. He didn't need temples or hymns. His presence lived in the space between one heartbeat and the next, in the hush that falls over a room when a life ends. Before heroes fought monsters, before kings rose and fell, Thanatos was already there, unseen, unchanged, and utterly necessary. The Greeks imagined Thanatos not as a monster lurking at the edge of life, but as something strangely familiar, almost comforting. Where other deities of death in world mythologies wear bones, shadows, and terror, Thanatos carried an entirely different presence. Most often, he was depicted as a youthful figure with wings, calm-faced and solemn, standing with the quiet confidence of someone who never needed to announce himself. His beauty wasn't radiant like Apollo's or seductive like Aphrodite's. It was gentler, soft lines, lowered eyes, and an expression that suggested understanding rather than judgment. Artists liked to show him beside his twin brother Hypnos, the god of sleep. Side by side, the resemblance was unmistakable, almost poetic. One guiding mortals into rest, the other guiding them out of it forever. Their wings were often the same shape, their posture mirrored, their roles intertwined. Viewers were meant to see death not as a violent interruption, but as a continuation of sleep's natural descent. Some depictions show Thanatos holding an inverted torch, the flame pointing downward toward the earth. It was one of his most powerful symbols. A torch raised upward represented life. A torch lowered signaled a flame fading, not extinguished abruptly, but gently dimming. Others show him carrying poppies, the flowers associated with sleep, dreams, and the easing of pain. On rare occasions, he appears with a sword, though even then, it isn't drawn in fury. It hangs loosely at his side, more ceremonial than threatening. The message was clear. Thanatos does not strike. He arrives when the moment has already unfolded. Classical funerary art painted him in soft, steady colors, no jagged lines or chaotic scenes. He was shown lifting the fallen gently beneath their arms, helping them rise, guiding them toward the realm where no struggle remained. The Greeks didn't need horror to imagine the end of life. They needed peace. And so, in vase paintings, sculpture, and mythic imagery, Thanatos became the face of a truth everyone eventually learns. Death doesn't always come roaring. Sometimes it comes quietly, with a hand on the shoulder, looking very much like rest. For all the fear that surrounds death, the Greeks never imagined Thanatos as cruel. His presence in myth feels understated, almost restrained, as though he understood a truth that mortals struggled to accept. The end of life doesn't need to be violent. It can just simply be. Thanatos carried himself with a calm that even other gods rarely possessed. He didn't roar like Poseidon, or burn with the intensity of Ares, or manipulate with the subtlety of Hera. He didn't judge or punish. He didn't chase mortals across the world or demand offerings to keep him away. If someone's time had come, he appeared. If it hadn't, he remained an unseen possibility, never forcing his will, never tempting fate. This made him one of the most impartial beings in Greek mythology. He treated kings and beggars the same, admired heroes and cowards with equal stillness. Death, in his eyes, didn't measure worth. It simply arrived when the story reached its closing line. And yet, despite his gentle nature, Thanatos was no weak spirit. The few times he appears physically in myth make it clear that he was a full god, not a ghostly servant. He possessed divine strength, enough to challenge or resist mortals, and enough that it took a trick, not a fight, for Sisyphus to capture him. Thanatos also moved with speed and precision, his wings carrying him swiftly toward the dying. Many poets imagined him arriving at the very second a soul began to loosen from the body, able to sense the moment of departure before it was visible to anyone else. Pain dulled in his presence, struggle eased. It wasn't mercy, just a natural part of what he was. But what defined him most wasn't a power. It was his unwavering role. Thanatos never deviated from his purpose, never acted out of vengeance or desire. He was the god who stayed true to his nature in every myth that survived. Quiet, steady, inevitable. A presence that doesn't crush mortals with fear, but settles beside them when their story is ready to close. Thanatos was not a solitary figure drifting through myth alone. He emerged from a family that embodied the most inescapable forces of human existence, a lineage that shaped how the Greeks understood fear, fate, rest, justice, and conflict. And while many of his siblings embodied turmoil, Thanatos himself remained the calm center in a storm of primordial forces. As we mentioned before, his mother, Nyx, stood at the beginning of everything. She was the night itself, mysterious, ancient, and older than the Olympian order. Even Zeus, with all his thunder and authority, respected her power. From her, Thanatos inherited not darkness in a frightening sense, but the quiet stillness that settles over the world when daylight fades. He carried the softer side of night, the silence, the slowing of breath,